Human beings are incredible creatures. We consume ideas, stories, food, air, music, trends, non-stop. From the oxygen we breathe to the endless content we scroll through every single day, we are masters of consumption. But here's the problem. We rarely create as much as we consume. We scroll for hours, watch hundreds of videos, absorb thousands of opinions, yet we hesitate when it's our turn to post, to speak, to build. And today, I want to challenge that. Welcome to the Social Billboard, and today we're diving into a simple but powerful idea. If you can consume, you can create too. It takes a lot of time, effort, and heart to bring these videos for you, so kindly hit that subscribe button. Every single day, you wake up and start consuming. Before your feet even touch the floor, you've already scrolled through 5 posts, watched 2 stories, maybe replied to a meme. On your way to work, you're listening to a podcast. At night, you're binge-watching a series. Somewhere in between, you've liked, shared, saved, reacted. You consume ideas, you consume opinions, you consume aesthetics, you consume other people's confidence, and then you tell yourself, I'm not a creator. That's the lie. The truth is, you are already doing 80% of the work required to be one. Think about it. When you scroll, you don't just watch, you judge, you analyze, you compare, you decide what's boring in 3 seconds. You instantly know when lighting looks bad. You feel when someone's being fake. You can sense when a hook is weak. You know when a video's gonna blow up, even before it does. That instinct, that's not random, that's creative intelligence. Or maybe your brain is a beautiful, necessary liar, and you assume that you can't create. The thing is that you've trained your brain by consuming thousands of hours of content. You understand pacing, you understand storytelling, you understand what keeps attention, you just haven't given yourself permission to step on the other side of the screen. And the reason isn't lack of talent, it's fear.
So why not just make it?
I'm scared.
Of what?
I don't know.
Exactly.
Fear that you're not original enough. Fear that you'll look stupid. Fear that your friends will judge you. Fear that no one will watch. It's not the right time. Video is not perfect. People will laugh. I'd like to mention Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hours rule. This rule can be a game changer for creators. It talks about how skill follows exponential curve. At first, progress is slow, but it sees a curve as hours increase. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The creators you admire felt the same thing. The only difference, they posted anyway. They didn't have fear like you that sits in the back of your mind. And that doesn't just help your creativity, but it paves way for breakthroughs. You just need to let go. Let go that fear. Go back to the first videos of almost any big creator. They're awkward, the lighting is bad, the voice shakes, the editing is messy, but they started, and starting is the part most people never do. But here's where people get stuck. They think creation means inventing something completely new. It doesn't. Creativity is not a talent. It is contribution. It's taking what you've consumed, filtering it through your own experiences, your own voice, your own perspective, and putting it back into the world slightly different than you found it. You don't need to reinvent YouTube. You don't need a revolutionary format. You don't need cinematic cameras. But something is stopping you because you need courage and consistency. Let me say something that might offend perfectionists. Your first 20 pieces of content are supposed to be average. Actually, they're supposed to be bad, because creation is not a performance. It's a skill, and skills are built through repetition, not overthinking. And here's something powerful most people ignore. Consuming content has already shaped your taste, and taste is gold. When you say, I don't like this editing style, that's taste. When you say, this intro is too slow, that's taste. When you say, this creator feels fake, that's taste. Taste is your internal compass. It tells you what to create and what to avoid. The problem is, many people use their taste to criticize others instead of guiding themselves. You don't need to be the best in the world to start. You just need to be one step ahead of someone else. If you've learned something from 100 videos about fitness, you can teach it to someone who has watched 0. If you've spent 2 years studying editing, you can help someone who just downloaded their first software. If you failed publicly, you can talk about lessons privately learned. Creation isn't about superiority, it's about service. And there's something deeply human about creating. When you consume, you're absorbing someone else's world. When you create, you're expressing your own. Consumption fills you temporarily. Creation builds you permanently. And let's talk about originality for a second. Nothing is 100% original. Just remember one thing. Great ideas come from combining old ideas in new ways. Steve Jobs didn't invent the touchscreen, phone, or internet, he just combined them. Let's talk about another example. Shakespeare borrowed plots from old stories and made them better. Picasso created more than 20,000 works, but only a fraction of them defines him today. Every idea you love was inspired by something else. Every format evolved from another format. Every trend is a remix of something that worked before. The difference is perspective. We live in a world where attention is currency. If you only consume, you're spending that currency. If you create, you're investing it. Consumption is comfortable, creation is uncomfortable. And growth only lives on one side of that line. Ask yourself something honestly. How many hours have you spent consuming content this year? Now imagine if just 10% of that time went into creating instead. Where would you be?
1 year from now, you can either be someone who watched 3,000 videos or someone who uploaded 100. Both require time. Only one builds momentum. Most people are waiting for permission. From friends, from family, from the algorithm. You don't need permission. You need to decide that your voice deserves space on the internet too. Because here's the truth, no one says out loud. The internet is not owned by the confident. It's owned by the consistent. And consistency doesn't require talent, it requires commitment. If you can understand content, you can create content. If you can scroll for hours, you can script for minutes. If you can binge watch a series, you can batch record a video. If you can consume value, you can produce it. You are not behind, you are not incapable, you are just unused to seeing yourself as the source instead of the audience. Absorb, read, watch, and listen. And remember, the more attempts someone makes, the more likely they are to produce a masterpiece. So the next time you catch yourself thinking, I wish I could do that, replace it with, why not me? Because if you can consume, you can create too. And the world doesn't need another silent observer. It needs your voice. And if you're wondering how aligned your channel really is, head over to the social Billboard for a free creator audit. We'll break down your trust score, show you how your audience actually matches your message, and pinpoint the gaps that might be holding brands back. It's not about luck, it's about logic, data, and alignment.
Sign up right now for an early bird discount.